Welcome to the Adobe Sign video on web forms. Today I'll show you how to create reusable web forms that you share or embed in HTML or JavaScript on your website for visitors to easily fill and sign. I'll also go over configuration options and troubleshooting. Before we get started, I want to point out that business and enterprise service levels can configure web form access and signer options. So if you don't see certain features, you or your admin might need to enable web forms by going to Account Settings, Global Settings, Web Forms. To create a web form, you start by clicking Publish a Web Form on the home page. Next, enter a web form name. Keep in mind that you can't change the name once you leave the draft stage. Now that I have a name, we're going to set up the first participant or person who first interacts with the web form. If you plan on multiple participants interacting, this first participant can also add participant email addresses. To start, we select the first participant's role, located to the right of the web form name. And so you know what each of these mean, I want to take a second to go over them. Signer, meaning the person initiating the agreement process, must apply a signature or any required fields. Approver or acceptor. Both of these roles allow a participant to fill fields, but do not obligate them to apply a signature. Form filler, which allows the participant to only fill out the fields. They cannot sign the form. Once you've selected a role for the first participant, pick an authentication method. You can choose None, which uses only the email verification after the web form is submitted. You can choose Password, which requires the recipient to enter a password before they can view the document. If you are in the United States and your account is configured to allow unlimited KBA transactions, you can also pick Knowledge-Based Authentication for your authentication method. And just to note, Acrobat Sign Authentication and Government ID are not supported for web form authentication. For this example, I want to show you what it might look like to add other participants. To do this, I go to Add Participant, which prompts the first participant to add more participants to the agreement. Keep in mind that when you add the first participant, they must supply the email addresses for all the other participants. And to keep things flowing smoothly, your first participant can include instructions to the additional participant and their role in the web form. If I click on the Add Participant link, it adds a participant line to the page. The great thing about this is you can add up to 25 participants and assign a role for each. Now keep in mind the flow of the process you're setting up. If you make additional participants a requirement, the agreement process cannot continue until the first recipient adds additional participants. If you make them optional, the signature flow will move to the next step whether the initiator adds additional participants or not. Once you've decided whether to add a participant link, you can add countersigners. You can do this under the Countersigner section and provide each email address. You'll also be asked to add the authentication method for each countersigner. When the agreement is sent, all of the countersigners will need to complete their approval in the order you list them before the agreement can be completed. You can include yourself as the web form creator by clicking the Add Me link on the right. If you click the Show CC link, you can add CC'd parties by entering their email addresses. These individuals will automatically be included in the agreement completion emails. Now that you've added CC'd parties, it's time to create the base for your web form. You can drag and drop the files you want to use, or you can click Add Files and navigate to the document that way. You also have the option to import existing library templates. Next, you have the option to password protect the final PDF produced by the web form signing. You can also adjust the recipient language used for the on-screen instructions and email notifications related to the web form. Now, check the Preview and Add Signature Fields option, and then click Next. The page will refresh and display the uploaded files in the authoring environment. Since I clicked on Preview and Add Signature Fields, we need to review all of the fields in our document. There are a ton of things I can do once I get to this view. I can correct and add fields, change the participant for a certain field, and change the type of field, but let's keep it simple for now. Each document will be unique, so here are a few tips I have for you. If you need to add another field, just drag and drop it from the menu on the right side. Make sure that you have a signature field on for each of your signers. Also, while email fields can be marked as optional, that doesn't mean someone can participate in the document process without one. An email address must be provided by each participant. If you have other questions about authoring, check out more of what you can do by clicking the links on this page. Let's head back to our web form. My fields are placed and I'm ready to go live with our web form. To do that, all I need to do is click Save. Perfect. After this, we're taken to a web form post-creation page. Here, you can copy the URL to the web form, and if you want to embed your web form, you have that too. Now that you know how to create a web form, I'll show you how to edit one. You can edit a form during the draft stage or once it's active. If a web form is still in draft status, you can access it on the Manage page by selecting the web forms filter on the left. Hover your mouse over the web form name and click Edit Quick Action. In this draft web form I have opened right now, you'll notice that only certain elements can be edited and others are locked. This is to maintain the flow and security of the document. Once you've edited the necessary items, click Next to open the authoring environment. After adding your fields, click Save. I just showed you how to edit a draft web form. Unlike draft web forms, active web forms only allow you to add or remove files. You cannot make any other edits on an active web form. Let me show you how to add or remove files. First, navigate to the Manage tab. Then select the Web Forms filter. Then select the web form and click the Edit button. The configuration page will load and you can add or remove files from the web form. Once you have your new files added, you can check and adjust the web form's fields by clicking Next. I don't have any fields to adjust or add, so I will just click Update. The cool thing about this is that the updates take place in real time, so anyone who uses the web form next will have access to the new files and adjustments made. Acrobat Sign gives you and me the tools to make the perfect experience for your document recipients. There are a few controls I want to point out to you. Save on opening the web form. This means the recipient must save the web form as soon as it's opened. This is recommended if your web forms are long or complex, to avoid session timeout issues. Disable signer reauthorization on accessing the web form from emailed link. When this option is enabled, the authentication process will not be required when the recipient accesses the web form through their email. Allow editing the agreement name. When this is enabled, the recipient can edit the agreement name and subsequent references. Generally, it is recommended to have this option disabled. Thank you for joining me to learn about web form creation. To learn more about Acrobat Sign and additional configurations you can do to your web forms, check out the links and information on this page. We have also included some links to case studies so you can see Acrobat Sign functionality and get inspiration for your next web form.